Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video we will see a demo code for overcoming the SQS limit in AWS. So what is the main SQS limit? So first, what is SQS? So it is used to post any messages to the queue, and whoever is subscribed or having a trigger for this SQS, the receivers will receive those messages. So this is typically a queuing system where the receivers will receive the messages posted in this queue. But there is a limit to this AWS SQS, that the message payload size must be less than 256 KB. So if it is more than 256 KB, then the normal AWS SQS can't handle it. So in order to overcome this, we have a SQS extended library. So in this video we will see a small Java code, a demo code to show how it supports the payloads more than 256 KB. So the main idea is, whenever there is a payload more than 256 KB, it will store in an S3 bucket and it will send S3 bucket name and the file name to the queue. Then the receiver will receive those bucket name and the file name. Then the receiver needs to download from the S3 bucket. So this is the basic idea. So we'll see a small demo. So first we will create one SQS which we will use for the demo. So already I have the code. So for running this code we need a basic SQS and one S3 bucket and one receiver. So we'll just create a queue and name this queue as Ashok test SQS extended. So we just keep all the remaining configurations as it is, then we'll just create queue. So queue is successfully created. Now we will create a S3 bucket. So this extended SQS will use an S3 bucket to store the payloads temporarily. So we'll just create a bucket. So in code we have mentioned the bucket name is this. So we will just create a bucket name and we'll just create a bucket. So bucket with the same name already exists. So we'll just name it 1. So I think here if you see, we have only one bucket here, but previously we got a message the bucket name is already exists. So it is globally, it is checking globally the name of this bucket is already there, because I have another account which I created with this bucket name. Maybe that's why it is showing. So now we have created a SQS bucket, S3 bucket, and now we'll create a receiver to the SQS. That is, we'll just create a lambda. We just create a function. We'll just name it Ashok test SQS extended. We'll just keep Python, change default role, create new role. If there is any existing role, let's check. Demo lambda role, demo lambda function. Just create a function. So we will add this lambda as a receiver to the SQS. So we'll just add a trigger to the SQS what we have created. We have created this name, just add it, so that whichever payload we have posted to this SQS, this will receive. So he's saying an error occurred while creating trigger. The provided execution rules does not have permissions to call receive message on SQS. Invalid parameter value exception. So if we check the configuration, we have used this role. We'll just go to this role and provide some full access to the SQS. So this role has permissions, just simply the lambda basic execution role. So we will try to add permissions, attach policies. Let's search SQS. So Amazon SQS full access. Let's give the full access for this role. So now the role is attached. Then now we'll try to add a trigger. SQS, we selected the queue, then now add. So now if you check, we have successfully added because we have provided the permissions for this role, and this lambda is created with this role. Now whichever message is pushed to the SQS, this lambda should receive. So in order to test, we will just print the event. So now we have successfully set up our account, whatever required. We require one SQS, one S3 bucket, one receiver, which is lambda function. So before this, our code needs to access my AWS account. So I will just change my permissions. Now this file, this credentials file has the access key and secret key of my AWS account. So internally Java will use those credentials and it will connect to our cloud account. So this is the basic Java code. So first S3 bucket name, we just named it S3 bucket name. So I think bucket name we have changed to 1. So let's change this. Then we have Amazon S3 client builder, default client. We got the S3 reference. Then we have provided some rule, bucket lifecycle configuration rule, the expiration rule. So whichever message used for SQS, we will keep in the S3 bucket, and that message should expired in some days, because it is just for temporary. Once the receiver receives, that should go off. So in order for that, we'll just keep an expiration dates. So expiration rule with expiration days, we just kept 14. We can keep any days with status enabled, and we have set this expiration rule for the lifecycle configuration. And this rule we have applied to this bucket. Set bucket lifecycle configuration for this bucket and this lifecycle configuration. Then we have a extended client configuration. We are enabling with large payload support. We are enabling for this bucket to allow the large payload support. And we have this Amazon SQS extended client builder, default client, and we have added this extended client config with the bucket. So before this, we need to add SQS extended dependencies. So add all these three dependencies. So we have SQS Java extended client library, we need to have SQS related dependency, we need to have S3 related dependency. Then after this we can add this code. So this is the sample code which will just generate a large string. This will generate a 300 KB. This is 300 KB. Finally this string will have 300 KB value. Then we have the queue name. We are setting the queue name and we are getting the queue URL. Then finally we are sending a messages to this queue. So after sending the message, we are just printing the message and we are send the message. So we will just try to execute this code and we will just see whether our receiver receives this message or not. So for testing purpose, we will just keep y here and we will just execute this. Run as Java application. So a message is sent. Let's go and see at the receiver. So this is our receiver. We'll just check the logs for this. Monitor CloudWatch logs. So log group does not exist. So still our function didn't receive that message. So we have print this event. So we need to see that in our logs. So let's check the connectivity again. Let's check the S3 bucket whether the file is stored or not. Yeah, here if you can see the file is stored successfully here. If you can see, and this we have added a trigger to this SQS, then we need to receive this to this lambda. When we are checking this, it's not happening. So let's directly send one message to this SQS and just check whether we receive or not. Hello test. So the message is sent. Then refresh this. So our receiver is not receiving the message, so we'll just try to remove this trigger and add it again. Okay, the status is enabled. Let's try to delete and create again. Is getting deleted. Once deleted, we'll just add a trigger again. Yeah, now add a trigger. SQS we have set. In order to read from the SQS trigger, your execution role must have proper permissions. Add it. So now the SQS enabled. Let's try again once more to send a message, and let's try to refresh. So still the receiver is not receiving messages. Let's check the permissions of this. Amazon SQS full access, trigger, there is no trigger, execution, okay, add permissions, lambda SQS queue execution role. We'll just add this role, lambda SQS queue execution role. Attach policies. So this policy is successfully attached. Now try sending again, send message, and let's try to refresh. Yeah, if you check now, the message is received because we previously we don't have this permission, AWS lambda SQS queue execution role. That's why it's lambda is not able to receive. So as soon as we added, we are able to view the message. So if you check the records, here you can see body equal to hello test. Now we will do our actual demo again. Just run this code again. So large payload is sent, and now our message, our lambda should receive it. So let's click on this, and if you see, we have received. And if you check here in the body part, there is S3 bucket name and S3 key. So here we don't have actual message. In the receiver side, receiver will receive an X3 pointer which will mention what is the bucket name, what is the key, and the receiver needs to access this bucket and this file and read the content of this file. So this is how the way it supports the more than 256 KB. And if we send a lesser message, suppose send message, we are sending a large one. If we send a small message, it won't use S3 bucket, it will send directly. So message request, here let's give a small message. Now try to run. So now message is sent. Now we will refresh it and see. So still we didn't receive the message. Yeah, if you check, we have received the message, and in body you can see it is small message. So if it is less than 256 KB, we will receive direct message. If it is more than 256 KB, we will receive a reference S3 bucket and S3 file. like this. In the body, if you check, there is S3 bucket name and S3 key. And how to know whether we received a S3 bucket name and S3 key or direct message? I think in the message attributes we can see there is SQS large payload size. It will mention what is the payload size it has received. It is 300,000, means 300 KB. If you check, we have made this 300 KB. So this is how we will overcome the limit of the SQS to 56 KB. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe my channel and share to your friends. Thank you for watching.